not as difficult as the last lesson. It's straightforward. We're just going to learn how to solve and sketch cubics. Not as easy as quadratics. So, we want to sketch, let's say, y equals 9x cubed plus 10x squared minus 43x plus 24. So just like with the quadratic and the linear, there's one point we can always easily find, and that's the point where it crosses the y-axis. Where would that be here? It will be at 24. When the x is 0, y is 24. So our first point is 0, 24. That's where it crosses y at 0, 24. And that's always the easy one to get. The hard one to get is where it crosses the x-axis. What's the name of these points that cross the x-axis? Roots, yeah. How do you find roots?
Make y equal to 0.
Make y equal to 0. So now we have to try and solve this equation. Now you learned how to solve that last week, except in the question I gave you something which I didn't give you here. What did I give you? I gave you a factor. Do you have a factor here? No. How can we get a factor?
Divide.
Yeah, but what do we divide by?
Any number.
Trial and error. So we need to try different possible roots to see if we get a factor. So what we need to do is we need to try different values of x. If we try x equals 1, does that make 0? Let's try it. 9 plus 10 minus 43 plus 24. And by dumb luck, I got it on my first attempt. So when x equals 1, then we do get this equal to 0. Therefore, this is a root, which means x minus 1 is a factor. Now for the exam, they'll always make the root between minus 3 and plus 3. So if you don't get it by the time you get to 3, then you've missed it. It's always going to be from minus 3 to 3. Okay? Now what do? I divide.
Can't we keep trying until we get all three of them?
But the other two might not be natural numbers, they could be fractions. So you could keep trying, but it might be hard to get.
So what do we divide by the root?
The factor that you
Divide by x minus 1, because we've tested to see if this is a root, and it is.
How do you tell?
Oh, by using the remainder theorem. The remainder is 0 when I put 1 in. Yep. Okay, so let's do this one quickly. 9x squared, 9x cubed minus 9x squared, 19x squared minus 43x, plus 19, 19x squared minus 19x, what's that, 24x? And here, minus 24x, here, minus 1. So how do I get the other two? Did I do that right or too fast?
Why minus 1? Minus 24.
Minus 24 to x to
The
the
answer.
x.
Up.
Yeah,
Yes.
this one.
In my head I thought of 24, but I wrote 1. Okay, minus 24. How do I get the other two? I have to factorize this. So we have one factor. Let's see what the other two are. I'm going to be dang lazy and just use my calculator. So the two factors here are 9x minus 8 and x plus 3.
Isn't it opposite?
No.
No, this is right.
So we found the roots. What are the roots? Plus 1, 8 over 9, and minus 3. These are the roots on the x-axis. So let's try to draw now. We know it meets here at 24, and on the x-axis it will meet at
-3.
1.
8 over 9 and 1.
There's 8 over 9. And then I'll just put minus 3 here. So we have these 4 points. The shape of a cubic, if you've seen it before, it goes up, down and up, like this. So it'll be something like this, goes up, down through these two, and then back up here. This is the cubic. Up, down and up. Its opposite, if it's a minus here, it's upside down. It'll be down, up, down. Okay, so we'll do another one, but this is our first example, so you'd want to write this one down. In the exam, they give you marks for the shape, up, down, up, and the 4 points. This is where you get the marks. Okay, so if you can write this one down, we'll have another one now.
What's the name of the chapter, sorry?
Solve and sketch cubics. Did you write this down? Mhm. Can I go down a little bit? So I'll give you one to try now. Sketch, and of course that means solve. Y equals 81x cubed plus 99x squared plus 19x plus 1. Oh, sorry, it's a little bit. Now, I'll give you a little hint here. You see this? All of the numbers are positive. So I definitely know the x cannot be positive, because there's no way to make positive equals 0. So I know from the very beginning I should only try negative numbers. -1, -2 and -3. It has to be one of those. Finished? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So let's try x equals minus 1. Does it work? 81
Yes.
plus 99 minus 19 plus 1. Minus 81. Yeah, actually, again, by dumb luck, the first one worked. So that means, therefore, x plus 1 is a factor. Let's divide that in. (81x squared), 81x cubed plus 81x squared. What does that leave me with? 18x squared? Yeah. Plus 19x plus 1. So this has to be plus 18. 18x squared plus 18x. Okay, well that leaves me with x plus 1. So that's a plus 1. Right.
18x.
9x plus 1 squared.
It was 9x plus 1. 9x plus 1.
Yes.
So this one's a little bit more interesting because instead of having 2 here, you only have 1. So that changes the graph a little bit. Where does it meet on the y-axis?
1.
1. And on the x-axis?
Minus 1.
Minus 1 over 9. And also minus 1 over 9. So it meets there twice. So what does that actually mean? Well, remember the graph still has to go... Oh, and I'm sorry, what was the other one? Minus 1, which is like... let me just move them a little bit. Minus 1 and minus 1 over 9. So it meets here twice, which kind of means that it doesn't go below it yet. Flips around at it. It goes up, down, and does not pass through, but meets this point, and then back up again. Like this one. So it has 2 roots and 1 on the y. Okay. Can I scroll down?
No.
Not yet? Okay. So for the people who are writing down, go ahead, and people who have it, you can try this one next.
So this one has 3 points over here.
Yeah, correct.
So how do we know when it turns back down?
Well, you don't really have much of a choice because it has to go up, down, up. So this one, it has to be coming up here, it has to go down, and it has to go back up. If you went up and down too far, then this is wrong because when you go back up, you don't have an extra point.
No, but then,
Yeah.
like going down, like
The
from-
first
Wait.
Yeah, the first maximum. Like,
Here?
yeah.
Yeah?
How do we know when to go down?
We don't really. We'll work out this exact point later. So we just go down at some point. The exam often doesn't ask for this point exactly, so it's just happy to get the shape. But later we'll see how to get these points, and they sometimes ask for it. Called turning points. Yes. Okay, where was I with this one?
The differentiation.
Yeah. Okay, less than or equal to 0. Okay, so for people who have this, try this one now.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
For the graph, how's it different from the last one that we did?
Yeah, it's not much, but there is an important difference. Here it goes under the axis and back up because it has to cross it twice. Here it's very important that it hits it once and immediately goes back up.
us the graph or do we draw the graph?
In the exam,
No, in this question.
I just gave you the points on the x and y axis in the answer.
In the answer.
Yeah. Like the answer is, I just listed these
Just to
4
draw the
points.
graph.
Yes. Yeah, but once you got the point, kind of it. This is less than or equal to 0.
What does the less than or equal to 0 mean?
I want you to find values of x that make this cubic a negative.
Oh, inequalities. Okay. All possible values of.
Correct.
If we use the calculator to find the values of x, is there a way that we can find out which one is the repeated one?
There is a way. Something we'll discover later. In semester 2. Were we able to find the roots of this? Yep. So, I won't bother doing that part again because it's the same as the previous 2 examples. It's more what do I do about this that's different. So, what were the roots you got for x?
3 and minus 5.
3 and
Minus 5.
there's only the 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minus 5 is repeated.
I would have thought the 3 is repeated. This is minus 75.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so it has to go
Up,
Up.
and then down. And then up again.
yeah, because
The up again has to be this way.
if we went up, down, that's a problem here.
Yeah.
So we can't pass through the 5. So it has to be up, down, and then up here. Now, the question I was asking you was, when will it be negative? So if you look at the graph, here it's negative y. And then what happens here? It turns to positive y. So actually the answer is x less than or equal to minus plus 3
So yeah.
is the answer here from the graph. But you know, it's the same as the last example. You're just using the graph to do something useful at the end. That's all. Okay, let me write down your homework questions here for this one. F, G, I in number 1, and then number 2, A and B. Okay, you can work on these for a few minutes. Number 1 is F, G, and I, and number 2 is A and B.
Are we going for one more lesson?
Today?
Oh, no, I thought...
That's way off.
I thought our class would last until like 12.
Yeah.
So, how'd you figure out to start from this side, not this side, to go that way?
Yeah, we always draw from left to right, first thing. And it has to be up, down, up. So you should, when you take
It
your
always
pencil...
has to be up, down, up.
Oh yes, for a positive cubic.
For a positive.
For a negative, it's down, up, down,
So,
reversed.
if it was negative,
It'd have to be down, up, and then down again. But it can't be negative because it's minus 75 here. So like this, if you flip this by putting minus on everything, minus, 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 so that'd be minus, minus, plus, plus. It just gets flipped upside down. So instead of going up, you'd go down, up, down.
wait, and how can you tell if it's a positive cubic or...
Just what's in front of this.
Oh, so if this was a negative, it's a negative. Alright.
Yeah.